Look, I think what's going on here is that, Greg, you and I both know this is the weakest case for impeachment ever presented to the U.S. Senate by the House of Representatives in the entire history of the country. They simply have not made the case. So apparently they believe that making all kinds of unproven accusations, doing things like accusing the president of being a despot, something that shifted today, that somehow that is going to help them damage the image of the president and apparently, I guess, help them in the next election because since they can't prove their case, they pretty much know he's going to be acquitted.
Jerry Nadler has said, well, the president's just invoking executive privilege all over the place, and that's why we had to impeach him in Article 2, obstruction of Congress. Yeah. Well, guess what? Presidents going back all the way to George Washington have invoked executive privileges. That's why we have courts in order to resolve knotty constitutional issues, and that's one of them.
Well, I think the number one lesson we should take away here was the argument that somehow the Iran deal or the JCPOA was slowing Iran's nuclear program down is simply not true. Look, essentially what they did is they went back, right back to what they were doing, and they're producing even more now than when they signed the deal. So it never limited their nuclear program. I think it always also gets to the other issue, which I think people just get wrong, which is they think of the Iran nuclear program and building towards a nuclear weapon as some kind of conveyor belt. And when we do things like JCPOA or bomb them or something, that we're slowing or speeding up the program. And the reality is Iran will become a breakout nuclear state when it wants to, and when it suits them best. And the external the external activities aren't really affecting their capacity to become a nuclear weapon state if they want to be.
Look at how the stage has really shifted. To me, the real news here is the sullying of the Chinese brand. It's not President Trump coming in so strong. It's who would have predicted that the Chinese would have come in looking so bad. The Hong Kong, the elections in Taiwan. You know, in the United States, we just shut down the University of Maryland, another Confucius Center. It's not just the United States. Worldwide, I think people are looking at China, recognizing that their Davos shtick isn't the reality, that they're a bully economy. And I would take issue that the problems in the world aren't capitalism. There are people that are trying to manipulate the capitalistic system for their own gain. China's the number one guilty of that. And I think the real news is China doesn't show up here, and it's not everybody's friend, and Donald Trump is. Who would have predicted that 3 years ago? Well, I think they understand President Trump. Remember, he's been the president for 3 years now, and I think the world community has kind of figured out how to deal with him. And he does come in a very strong position. He just didn't do 2 trade deals. He did the U.S., Canada, Mexico is the largest, most important trading bloc in the world deal. And he just wrestled China, one of the world's largest economy. Those are bigger than breadbox deals. So that's got to earn him a lot of street cred coming into this.
But we need to ask, how is he going to pay for the $45 to $90 trillion over 10 years? And the fact is, we know that if you were to confiscate every dollar from those earning $200,000 and above, it covers just a fraction of this. If we're going to implement this cradle-to-grave welfare system that Europe has, that means the middle class is going to pay. And if you're making $40,000 a year in Europe, you're paying $6,000 more per year than in the U.S.